Good afternoon and good morning, everybody, if you're on the West Coast. Let's give it a minute just to give people a chance to get to join us, and then we'll get started. Okay, why don't we get started? So, hello, everybody. It's Wednesday, April 16th. Sorry, I've got the date wrong. It's May, but we're going to talk about linking content in Merlin, and I'm joined today by my colleague, Sarita Morrison. She's the Customer Service Success Manager at MerlinOne. Let's see. As always, we're going to keep this short and sweet. It will be less than 30 minutes, probably closer to 15 minutes today. I am recording the session. It will end up on our YouTube page. Please ask your questions in the chat window. I'll try and go look at them periodically. And of course, as always, the questions do not need to be related to today's topic. And we always are welcome to your suggestions for future topics. So if you've got ideas for things you'd like us to talk about, let us know. We will entertain that. So I'm going to briefly turn it over to Sarita because she wants to talk to you about our Refer a Friend program.
Hi, everyone. I wanted to just let everyone know about the Refer a Friend program. It's still fairly new. We only talked about it very briefly in our last chat. So this program is something where if you know somebody who could benefit from having a Merlin dam, all you have to do is click on the link below and fill out a simple form. All we need to do is know that person's information and your information as well. And you'll get a $500 gift card if that person becomes a customer of MerlinOne. You have the option of either getting the gift card, or if you would like to get $500 credit off your Merlin bill, you can do that as well. So it's a pretty simple program, but we get a lot of referrals from our customers, so we wanted to just extend this offer.
Thanks, everybody, and thank you, Sarita. Okay, so let's talk about linking. So there are several types of linking that you can do in Merlin, and I'm going to show them to you. So first of all, in order to link content in Merlin, it does require the permission to do that. So in the Merlin user groups area, you have to add the permission to link and unlink records. That's exactly what it's called, in order to have access to be able to link content. You can use the link tool to link content together manually, and I'll show you that. You can also link content at the time of upload, and I'll show you an example of that as well. Some other things you can do with linking is you can link content based on common metadata. And this might be based on the file name, it might be based on some other field. This is typically treated as a customization, but it is something that we can do. We can also do linking based on publication data information, and I'll talk to you about that a little bit. And we can also link content together if you FTP it to Merlin, and I know most of you are probably not using FTP to Merlin, but you could. So if content is in the same folder, we will link that content together. And again, that's a configuration, and I will show you an example of that. How do you view linked files? It requires no special permission to do that. If you want to disable the ability for people to view linked files, you would need to disable the linking tool. You can also disable the linking icon if you want to do that as well. So without further ado, why don't I just jump right into Merlin, and I'm going to show you how to do some of the things we've just discussed. So let me get my browser window open. And you can see I'm logged into Merlin, and I've got my right-hand sidebar hidden for the time being. But I want you to notice I've got a photo in the upper right-hand corner that has the link icon on it. And you can see the link icon, and notice when I hover over it, in my hover text, if you look about halfway down, you can see the chain link icon, and it's telling you that this item does have links. It is linked to something else, okay? And so if you want to see what it's linked to, you'd simply click on the item like I've done here and go to the linking tool in the main toolbar and say display linked. It's that simple. And so if I do that, it's going to show me everything that this item is linked to. Now, lots of people use linking in different ways. Some of our publishing customers link their published pages with all of the items that were published on that page. So a newspaper PDF might be linked to the photos and the graphics and the stories that were on the page, okay? Some of our other customers store permissions or consent forms or photo releases in Merlin, and so those consent forms or permissions might be linked to the photos that they cover. And so I'm going to show you how you can link contents together. So I'm going to just search for some content to get something up here up on the screen. And let's say I've got these two pictures that I've highlighted that are related to each other, and they are. They're from the same vacation, and maybe this picture is also part of that set, okay? So all three of these pictures are related, and I want to link them together. So if I have permissions to do that, I can go to my link tool and say, I'd like you to link these together. And notice all three of them get the link icon on them. I can also remove the links from here, or I can unlink them. So again, I have the option to do that. And removing all links and unlinking is a little bit different, because removing all links would remove all links, because this particular item, so let me deselect this and go here, this particular item might also be linked off in another direction. So maybe these items are linked together, so I'm going to do that as well. Oh, my mistake, I did not mean to do that. Sorry. I displayed them rather than highlighting them. So let's go back to this item and scroll down and select this item and this item, and then let me actually link them together. So now this picture of the sunset is actually linked in two different directions. And so if I want to, I can display the linked items for this particular item. And it's going to get all of the links. It's going to get both sets of links. And so from here, I have the opportunity to unlink these guys if I wanted to do that, okay, just by saying unlink them. Or I could remove all the links from, for example, from this one, and it would break my links from this to everything in both directions, okay? So that's a little bit about how you can link things together manually and also unlink things together, okay? So that's kind of a cool thing. Let's talk about a couple of other linking options. So I'm going to go to my Finder, and actually I'm going to hide this so it's just not a distraction. So you can see I've got a folder on my desktop called Linked Files, and inside of it I just have some examples on show you how things might be linked together. So here's one example. This is an example of how files might be linked together based on metadata. So notice inside my folder linked on metadata, I've got two files. They have exactly the same name, but they're different extensions. One's a PDF and one's a JPEG file. They're totally separate files, but if Merlin is configured to automatically link these files together because the metadata matches, Merlin can do that automatically, okay? Here's something else you can do. If you are FTPing contents to Merlin using FTP software like FileZilla or Fetch or some other FTP software, if your content is organized in a folder, notice if I open this folder up and I've got these 4 items in it, if I upload the entire folder, including the contents and not just the contents, to Merlin by way of FTP, one of the configurations in Merlin is to automatically link all the contents together, okay? So that's something that you can do at the time of upload by way of FTP, okay? Let me go back to Merlin, and I want to show you a couple of other things that we can do. Some of you may be familiar with the new feature that I showed showed recently, when you go to download content, one of the new options in Merlin is to add an output history, okay? And so we can actually base linking on this output history as well. So if you have a specific field here, for example, published where and publication date, and they match, I can take everything that was marked as having been published on 5/17/2018 and everything that was published to some common name in the published where field, and I can link all of that content together as well, and I can do that very easily. That is strictly a configuration, not a customization, okay? So that is another way to link content together. Finally, another way to link content together, and the one that you may already be familiar with, is when I go to upload content using my upload form. If I check this box, link these records, anything I've dragged and dropped together into the upload area will automatically be linked at the time of upload, okay? So that's a really cool thing to be able to do as well. So just as by way of kind of review, you can link content manually, as I showed you. You can do it at the time of upload by checking this box on the upload form. You can take advantage of publication or usage-related information. We can link on that. We can also do, as a customization, linking on a common metadata field. It doesn't have to be the file name. As I showed you, it could be any field. Or linking content in a folder using FTP. Okay, so I think I've shown you what I came to show you today. Let me go take a real quick look and see if I've had any questions come in, because I've been ignoring that. Are there ways to send out a link to a video while it is still uploading so that a client can receive a video after it's done? Well, you could send the link to so that's a different kind of link. That's emailing a link to somebody. And I would suggest that you not email a link to an external user until it is done uploading, because the way the linking works is Merlin actually parks the file outside of the server, outside of Merlin, so people can get to it by way of a link. So I would not send a link out to a video while it is still uploading. I would wait until it's done uploading before I send that link out. Okay, any other questions for me today? All right then. Well, I thank you for joining me today. I look forward to chatting with you again next month. Oh, one more question before we go. Yeah, sure, go ahead, Phil. Melissa has asked if she has trouble doing this, who do I contact for assistance? Well, you can feel free to contact anyone in our customer service department. You've got that, that phone number is 617-328-6645. You can send an email to them, hostedsupport@merlinone.com, or feel free to drop Sarita or myself an email. So we're happy to take your emails or take your calls. Oh, I see lots more questions here, so hang on, let me go. Are there any integrations with Avid Interplay or, okay, so that's a good technical question. We do not have integrations with Interplay or any of the things that you've mentioned there, Phil. So no integrations with Avid Interplay or NL Technology or Zendata. We do have APIs. We can talk about that probably separately on what sort of integration you're trying to accomplish, and maybe we can figure out how to help you solve the problem that you're trying to solve. Jan says, thanks, and they've been linking their content for a long time. Yes, this is a great example. So this is Jan Mandemaker at the Telegraph in Amsterdam. Their Merlin is automatically linking all of their published pages to all of the content that appears on those pages, like the stories and the photos, and it all happens automatically. What's the best link to all the chat webinars? Denny, I have to get back to you. I would say if you went to YouTube and searched for MerlinOne Inc., and it'll take you to our page, and on there you should be able to search for the chats. Bonnie asks, when the file names have the same name but different extensions, does it show only one record, or does it still show as such two? Great question, Bonnie. It still shows as two records, but they will have the link icon on them, okay? So this is not versioning the content. It is strictly adding the content. It has a different file name, and we're just linking those things together automatically based on the file name. And keep in mind, that is not an out-of-the-box configuration. It is something we have to set up for you. Okay, are there ways to send, another question, are there ways to send email links to collections as opposed to individual files themselves? Yes, there is a way to do that. So let me show you how you might do that. And then I'll get back to the rest of the questions. So I'm going to close my upload form. I'm going to open my collections. Now, keep in mind what I'm about to show you would be to send a link to an internal user. This is someone that has access to Merlin, and it works for both shared collections and private collections. But let's say I've got this shared collection called AirVenture 17. And I'd like to email a link to somebody. So in my link tools, you can see at the bottom of my collections area, I have some link tools, and all I have to do is say I'd like to email a link, and you fill out the form, and it will email a link to somebody, and if they click that link, it will take them to Merlin, allow them to log in if they're not already logged in, and then it will take them straight away to the content that's in this collection. We can also do the same thing with saved searches. So for example, I have a saved search here called Botanical Gardens, and maybe I'd like to share that with another user. So I'm going to say, if you go to email the link, so again, in my tools for my saved searches, I can go to email a link, fill out the form, and notice I've got the URL right here. So even if I don't want to send the URL, I can copy and paste it from here. Let me go back and show you that again over here on my collections as well. So I don't actually have to send the URL by way of email. I can just copy and paste this URL. Okay, so I'm just going to copy that, and I'm going to close this, and I'm going to paste it into my browser. And it's going to take me to Merlin and show me all of the content inside of that collection. So I would expect a bunch of airplane photos since that's the collection I used. All right, let me go back and go to our questions again. So lots of great questions. All right, thank you. Let's see. So would you say that the difference between linking and more like this is that linking is based on what a user chooses to relate, and more like this is AI based? Yeah, that's probably a pretty good explanation. So a link is just, I'm linking things together that may or may not have something in common. You as the user are deciding that they have something in common, either because you said link these guys together, or you said they've got some common metadata, or you said when I uploaded them, link them together regardless if they have something in common or not. Whereas the more like this button, okay, that's this tool right here, my magic wands tool in my toolbar. If I click on that, and it's basically running a search based upon the metadata in the item I have highlighted on the screen. So if I do a more like this search, I would expect a bunch of pictures to show up that are related to the Experimental Aircraft Association, okay? And you can see that indeed, that is what I've gotten. And as I scroll down, and you see it returns 68 records, and as I scroll down and down and down, they probably become less and less related to the original item. See, look, I've got some soccer photos in here now that have nothing to do with the original items. So that's a great question. Okay. So I've gotten to the bottom of my list of questions, and let me scroll through them one more time and make sure I've answered everything. I think I've got it. And with that, I'm going to say happy Wednesday, everybody. I'm going to give you back 10 minutes of your busy days, and I look forward to chatting with you again in June. Thanks, everybody.